right, everybody have a good sleep? Go to bed early? I know I did. I was exhausted. Get a chance to move around the city or anything last night?
No,
You're too tired, right? Exactly. Yeah, it was a long day yesterday, ready to get going. Yeah, so we'll get some legs beneath us. Okay, before we get going today, surveillance takeaways and arrivals, and we'll go through the list here. Any things or thoughts that you had overnight that you want to clarify before we move on? We can do that later as well, but I figure good time to ask now since it may be fresh in your mind. No? Okay.
And I was just going to mention, anybody walking across the camera, it's no big deal. You don't have to duck. It's fine if you're like crossing them momentarily.
Okay.
I do have a quick question.
I didn't notice that. Sorry, I was like,
Have you ever been approached, like while you're working, like by police?
Sure.
Neighbors, and so how do you handle it? You just
Yeah, we're going to get into it here. There'll be opportunities to talk a little bit about that, and it's the long answer is it's client specific about how you respond, and it's situational. We talked about it yesterday where gave the example where someone knocked on the door. Yeah, it's a dark vehicle, a little bit kind of, not suspicious, but I haven't seen it before. Is there somebody in there? Now, if you're confident in what you're doing and how you go about it, your equipment, you have that confidence that, no, they didn't see me get in the back. Why? Because I looked. I know they can't see me in the back because I know my setup. So their knock is a guess. It's like, is there anybody home? Right? When you knock on someone's front door, you don't know if they're home. Same concept in that scenario. So you have a choice, answer or don't, right? Now, being approached by the claimant is a very different conversation, or the claimant's family is a different conversation, and there's some solid do's and don'ts. Being approached by police, I've never been approached by police without them being called for some reason, and that leads into the previous things I was just saying. If you're not careful about when you arrive, what you set up, where you set up, how you set up, what you do in your behavior and all your kit, then that can lead to somebody being aware of your presence and calling the police out of concern.
And if that's the case, if the police come, like, do they generally say, like, okay, you're fine, or do they say, like, move along, or?
Usually, listen, you don't want police showing up.
No,
That's
for
the
sure.
last thing you want. So usually, if you have a concern or a notion, you see the neighbor and you're like, oh, that person's just seen me or is paying attention or saw me come and go, and that'll arouse suspicion, then you preemptively call the local detachment and you ask for dispatch, right? Sometimes you'll get people who, like, they're like, oh, who are you? Like, because most people don't ask for dispatch.
Yeah.
And you say, I'm a PI, I'm working in the area, I want to just let you know I'm here. They put you on to an operator, the operator takes that information down. Some operators haven't incurred a couple times on that other file I was telling you about that the operator hadn't, like, what do I do? And do you want my plate? Like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? So you have to coach some of them are experienced, right? And the idea is that if a call does come in, they know you're there, they don't send out a patrol car. A, it's resources for them, they're wasting resources and time. But B, you don't want a patrol car showing up, parking beside your vehicle, turning the lights on, and getting out and having a look, because everybody in the neighborhood is now going to be aware, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, and so yeah, so that's the MO. But we'll talk a little bit more about some of that through this process.